Welcome to the Philly Fox and Danny D Eagles podcast, Phillies edition. All right, and we're coming to you from our Eagles perch in the Ed Bobco Memorial Studios in beautiful Morristown, PA. And that's the star of the show, Philly Fox, and I'm your host, Danny D. And today we're going to go over week 2 of the Philly season. Well, not a great week 2, was it, Philly?
Well, yeah, there's gonna be some anger in this video, so put it that way. Be warned.
Yeah. Well, that's okay. Not as much anger. Yeah. I know he's mad. He's not too happy, and I'm not happy either. There was a few good things, but not a lot. Well, let's start with the first game. So the first series was against who?
The Atlanta Braves.
The Atlanta Braves. Okay. And in game 1, all right, we had just to go over, we're not going to go over like the whole starting lineups and stuff like that, but just so you know, this was a game when we had Trey leading off because, we've been switching back and forth. And just the other note is that Sosa is playing. He's playing left field, okay, which he never has done before, right?
Oh, yeah, first time.
First time, right? And then Rojas is playing center field, and Wheeler's pitching. And for the Braves, we got
Chris
Sale on the other side. He's a pretty good pitcher, right?
Well, last year they were 1-2 for the Cy Young, Chris Sale and Zach Wheeler.
Okay, right, all right. So this is a really good matchup. We should have been looking.
Well,
forward
on paper
to.
It's good, but we'll talk about what really happened.
Yeah, what really happened, right? Yeah, it did look good on paper, going into it and stuff. So, all right, well, go ahead. Let's see what you got there, Phil.
Because Nick Castellanos singled to center fielder Michael Harris, which scored Alec Boehm.
Right.
We give Phillies a 1-0 lead early.
Right. Okay. So yeah, starting out good, and whenever Nick's hitting, that's always a good thing, right?
Well, whenever anyone hits, but
when anyone.
Well, because with Castellanos, it's always he chases too much. That's like the narrative,
Yeah. Well, and that is the narrative on him, whether it's
a fair narrative or not.
Yeah, I'm not as critical on him as other people are. I think he's like a lot of other players. You get the good with the bad, and I think there's enough good with him. But anyway, let's move on.
But it was short-lived because Sean Murphy homered the next inning. But before the homer, we got Rojas missed a routine fly ball, and then that helped set up that homer.
Yeah, but you know what? Can we backtrack here a little bit? Actually, in the second half of the first inning, didn't Sosa, who was playing in his first game,
he made like the catch of the year, like he reached out over the wall and caught it.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, main reason I'm bringing that up, I'm bringing up 2 reasons. Obviously, it was a great catch, right? But I think it also now played into what you were going to talk about. And go ahead, go back to that about the. Well,
this was Rojas though. Rojas called him off or something. That's what there was miscommunication. That's
okay. So all right. So the whole story on that was, and this is what I heard. Okay, the deal on that is everybody's going to blame Rojas, and he should be blamed. I mean, I am going to say that because he's the center fielder, he's the captain of the outfield, and it's his job to call off anybody else. But that being said, if you're in the outfield and you're not going to catch the ball and you're not the center fielder, you are not supposed to say anything. What the confusion supposedly is that Sosa was saying, you take it, but he did, because of the crowd or whatever reason, Rojas didn't hear that and then kind of froze at the moment. And the reason I say the other play played into this is because now this guy just made this like heroic catch, steals a home run, brings it back. Now you hear him calling for it. You think, well, hey, who am I to say he's not going to get it? Or, whatever seed of doubt was in Rojas's mind. But anyhow, terrible play. Rojas, in the end, doesn't matter what the other guy says. If he knew it was his ball, he should have caught it.
Well, but then at the same time, it doesn't give Zach Wheeler a free ball. We'll give up a home run, what?
Oh, because afterwards, right, a home run, right, yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Hey, And we absolutely can't give him a free pass, right? Because if it was Nola, we'd be all over him,
Well,
right?
like Nola always doesn't go. Like it's the narrative, you know.
Yeah, okay. And then, but then when Wheeler does it, well, we're not as tough on him. All right, but anyway, move on. What else we got?
But the Phillies strike back the next inning.
Okay, yeah, and then who was that?
Kyle Schwarber tripled, right?
Okay,
Which scored Trey Turner and Bryce Harper.
absolutely, yeah, that was Schwarber. Now, if I'm not mistaken, okay, now that was so there was a cycle count going on here, right? And because he had a single in the first inning, because he was he was on base when Bohm scored on the Nick RBI, right? And then so then he gets this triple. So now he's got like the hardest one. They always say the triple's the hardest one to get in the cycle, right?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Okay. And then what? And then what? The score was what? 3-3. Okay.
But that we weren't done because Castellanos doubled him home. You know, Schwarber home.
Right. Okay. And right. And then we got what? Who is it? Harper scores on that.
Well, it's Schwarber because Schwarber he scored from third. You know, Castellanos hit him in.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Yeah. I can't read my notes again. Turner and Harper were the ones that scored when Schwarber hit the triple, and then Nick gets the double, and Schwarber scores, and it's 4-3.
But Nick, you know, he's driven in two people. You know, like. But
Yeah.
that way, so far he's having a good game.
Right. Exactly. So let's go back to what we said. You know, the narrative on him is that he
Chases too much.
Chases too much, but you know, obviously he connects, right?
Yes.
You know, it's not all chasing. Okay, and and what else we got? I think we had and then what was the score after?
Well, it was 4-3.
4-3. Okay,
The Phillies reclaimed the lead.
reclaimed the lead. Okay, and but we weren't done yet, were we?
Well, we were done that inning, but there was no scoring in the fourth and in the top of the fifth.
Right.
Kyle Schwarber homers, like you said, psycho watch. He's getting closer.
Yeah, right. And it was, I think it was 462 feet. And I was reading something on one of the posts where they were talking about like all the longest shots at Truist Park, and I think he's got like 3 of them. If I'm not mistaken, his longest one is like 488 feet or something like that. But yeah, so now he's getting he's only a double, right?
Away from the cycle.
Away from the cycle.
Because a double is, in theory, one of the easier ones to get, you know?
Yeah, right. Yeah, definitely easier than a triple, and he's already got that in the home run. So, all right. And, but.
But, you know, like, unfortunately, the Braves scored in the bottom of the 6th. Like, Sean Murphy, single home, you know?
Yeah.
Brian De La Cruz.
Right. Okay. And they end up losing this game.
Well, eventually, but like you just never felt comfortable, like because Wheeler didn't have his best stuff, like.
Yeah.
But people give him the pass because or Rojas catches that ball, you know, right? It doesn't, you know. Well, if we can play that game over.
Oh,
you know?
absolutely, and you're absolutely right. I mean, we shouldn't be looking at it that way, but then again, it shouldn't have happened.
Yes.
You know, and as fans, man, how else can we look at it, right?
And then, well, Michael Harris, you know, it was a sacrifice fly, but it's 5-5, like.
Okay.
Because these are Wheeler's runs, unfortunately. You know?
Yeah.
Like his ERA doesn't look good, but you know, like people will say, like, well, if the catch, you know, his ERA looks better, but you know, like it should have been an unearned run if I'm being like those at home because it should have been an error on Rojas, but they didn't score it that way. Is the way I'm putting it. You know.
Yeah. They didn't. Oh, they didn't give him an
error for that. All those runs did count against Wheeler. You know?
Oh well, you gotta think that's a hometown scorer there, right?
Well, yes.
Yeah, probably doing that on purpose. You know, didn't give him an
error.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. What else you got?
Well, then after the bullpen came in, like Orion Kirkering, but he didn't help because he gave up a run. And then after that, it was just quiet. The Braves kept tacking on. Like, that was the thing.
Yeah.
Like, the bats went cold after, like, the 5th inning or something. Like, they didn't get another hit or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a narrative we're saying. Like, after a certain inning, like, the bats don't hit anymore. It's just a narrative that we're going to say too much on this show. Like,
well, yeah. But the thing is, in the beginning, it was
good. But the thing is, like, the Braves tacked on a run here, a run after, like, the 5th inning, the Phillies didn't get a hit, you know.
Yeah, but what I was going with that, Philly, was that in the first week, I think we were saying the opposite because they weren't getting hits in the beginning of the game.
But then, like, as the game went on,
they were getting most of the hits against the bullpen. So now it's kind of like it's flip-flopped.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah, but that's the way a baseball season is, right? It's 100.
Yes.
It's 164 games.
162.
62. Okay, again, I get stuff so wrong, man.
Yeah,
I'm telling you. But hey, well, they hopefully they're going to play at least 164, right? Going further into the playoffs. That's what I was looking at.
Because then, well, like I said, the Braves then tack on like another inning, like Tanner Banks. They got it's a wild pitch on the Tanner Banks brings home another.
Yeah.
Because Orlando Arcia, we all hate Orlando Arcia because he taunted our crowd. Back in that infamous playoff series.
Okay. Yeah.
Like in 2023. So.
Yeah, he's not a fan favorite. That's for sure.
Yes.
Okay.
But I mean, that was all she wrote for that game, unfortunately.
Yeah. So what was the final?
7-5.
7-5. Okay. Yeah. So we're not starting out that series really well. Okay. And then we come up to game two. All right. So now in this one, we got a little bit of a different batting lineup. Okay. Now we're going to Schwarber at the leadoff, which is going to put Bohm in cleanup. Trey batting second. And what else we got? Anything different in there? Marsh is your center fielder, and Max Kepler's in left field. He's batting fifth behind Bohm. And then our pitcher is
Taijuan Walker.
Yeah, Taijuan Walker, and he's going against Grant Holmes.
Yeah. Because he was a bullpen piece for the Braves, but Spencer Strider, the ace, has been out, so he's probably filling his role.
Okay, all right. Yeah. So you should feel pretty good about this matchup then, right? Especially if Taijuan can
replicate his last start.
Right. Yeah. I mean, because he was what, scoreless, right?
Oh, yes.
Okay. So all right. So let's. So what do you got?
Well, it took till the sixth inning. There was absolutely no scoring, but there was a mini village left on base by both. Neither team could score with runners in scoring because, I'll leave that,
Yeah. And that's something that, right, this was not a good week for Phillies as far as bringing people in and not stranding people on base. So what else you got?
Well, top of the sixth.
Okay.
Bryson Stott singles home.
Okay.
Max Kepler, it took 6 innings, but, they finally scored.
Break the ice. Yep.
But it was short-lived because Orlando Arcia singled home a run, Sean Murphy.
Okay.
Yeah, because Arcia, we can't stand,
What's that?
We can't stand Arcia, though.
Yeah, absolutely. Not a fan favorite. Not a fan favorite at all. Well, the whole team. I mean, who likes the Braves? Yeah. I mean, you say that like we like the other guys.
Well, I'm saying our Arcia, we can't, especially him because of the way he acted.
Oh, I know. Yeah. I'm just being silly.
Because Michael Harrison, he was out on a sacrifice fly, but it brought home a run the next inning.
Okay.
Atlanta went up 2-1.
Okay. Yeah, Phillies down.
And then top of the seventh, Bryce Harper has her back because he homered. And he brought home Trey Turner.
Okay.
3-2 Phillies.
Okay.
Because this guy, I was at a bar, right, and he said, Bryce Harper's not doing anything and stuff, and then he homered, right after.
Right after that.
He's not doing enough and all that.
Yeah, in your face, right?
Yes.
Okay, and if I'm not mistaken, that was Bryce's 16th home run at Truist Park.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
But though Austin Riley homered the next inning, bottom half, and then it's 3-3.
Okay.
So it's back and forth. One team scores, the other team scores. That's the narrative we're getting so far.
Yeah. Hey, I mean, now so Walker was out of the game by then, right?
Well, yeah, he didn't get up an earned run. All those runs were against the bullpen, unfortunately.
Right. I think he went 4.2 innings, and he gave up 5 hits, 0 earned runs.
Well, he left a lot of traffic, but credit to him, he worked out at some tough jams and stuff.
Yeah, and that's the difference, right? Everybody gets into jams. It's whether you can work out of them or not. And he ended up with 5 strikeouts. So another nice performance by Taijuan.
Still 0 earned runs on the year, though.
Yeah.
So he's in a Cy Young. You could say he's in the Cy Young. Right now, he is.
Yeah, I don't think he's in the voting, but really, if you're going to look at that stat for sure,
Yes.
He should be there, right?
And then, well, the top of the ninth, Trey Turner puts the dagger, because it's 4-3.
Okay.
With a homer,
Yeah, nice to see Trey getting a home run. Absolutely, it's nice to see anybody getting a home run, but
especially him, because same thing. Like, well, Trey's not doing it like it's the narrative. Like,
yeah, and the other thing that he gets to knock on it, right, is well, he doesn't not enough defense and stuff. But I'll be honest, he's actually had a very good year as far as his defense and stuff. Has he muffed a play or so? Maybe
Well, I haven't. The infield's been. It's the outfield where the disasters happen. That way.
Yeah, but actually he's made some very good catches, like out in like shallow left field where he's had to like slide to make the catch and stuff. So yeah, great for Trey. But let's get back on track. You know me.
Well, I mean that was the end because the Braves didn't score in their bottom half. I mean
Okay.
because they got like a runner to third, but like. The Braves were just as bad with runners in scoring position that game. They were stranding a lot of guys and stuff.
Yeah, we'll credit our pitching on that, right?
Oh yes.
Okay, so the Phillies end up picking up the win.
4-3.
4-3. Okay, all right. So now we got game 3, and so we're at 1 each, right? And
yes.
Okay, so now we got Schwarber's back. He's leading off again, so they went with Schwarber 2 games in a row. We got Nick in the cleanup spot. We got Marsh is in center field, and then our pitcher is Luzardo. Okay, Jesus is on the loose, right?
Oh yes.
And then going against Schwellenbach. Okay, and Schwellenbach, he's a pretty good pitcher, huh?
Oh yes, I'd say he's their second best.
Yeah.
After Strider, because Chris Sale, he's not having a good year so far, but.
Okay. Yeah. But anyway, so this looks to be a good pitching matchup. Okay. All right. So what do we got?
Well, unfortunately, bottom of the first, Matt Olson got an RBI ground out. Austin Riley scored.
Okay. All right.
Oh, but Schwarber homered in the top of the third. Schwarber answered back.
Schwarber, and we're tied then.
But then there was a 20-hour rain delay, as Hunter Brody put it.
Oh man, that was brutal. I mean, to be honest with you, neither one of us was able to, catch the rest of the game. We pretty much.
But think, I got the updates that top of the 11th, there wasn't any more scoring till the Ghost Runner and the extra. I'm not a fan of the Ghost Runner personally.
Yeah.
That's a rule that the MLB should have never instituted.
I don't understand. Especially baseball. You don't change things. Changing the
changing
rules.
like a 150-year-old tradition and stuff. Put it that way.
I don't understand. There was nothing wrong with the game the way it was. The little additions. The pitch clock and stuff like that, I don't have a problem with.
But it's just changing rules that are a century and a half old, put it that way.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, what's it? Rojas walked
in
a run because the bases were loaded. He just walked in a run.
Right, he walked in a run on his bases loaded. So, yeah, obviously their pitching staff wasn't...
But then, like I said, you're put into a bad situation when there's a runner on second,
Yeah.
You're put into a cluster, when you're that way.
Okay. So now the Phillies are up
2-1.
2-1 on that. Okay. But yeah. Unfortunately it didn't go well, did it?
Well, because Austin Riley doubled home the Ghost Runner in the bottom of the 11th.
Okay.
And then Ozuna homered him home, so
right.
They won on a walk-off.
Okay, so they ended up losing. What was the final score?
4-2.
4-2. Okay. All right. So they ended up losing that series. Yeah.
But I mean, at the same time, Atlanta's not as bad as their record, but.
Oh yeah, nobody expected them to be as bad. But I'll be honest with you, I really wanted to come out of there with 2 wins. I would have been happy with winning the series, 2 wins. But what are you going to do?
And then, the rain delay didn't help things either, like I said. So.
No, and that unfortunately is going to parlay into. Another game, and
yes.
So we're gonna fast forward. Then we're gonna go to now we're playing the Cardinals, right?
Yes.
Okay, and in game 1, now Topper's trying something totally different. Now we got Stott, who I think, if I'm not mistaken,
he led all. I don't understand that.
Well,
I like Stott, but he's not a leadoff hitter,
Yeah, I mean they thought about this before. They thought about this last season, and it didn't quite work out. And but they're trying something. I mean, but is it an overreaction?
Well, yes, because I think Topper sometimes he overthinks himself.
Yeah, and he can, but it's a thinking game, and so that's what he does. And well, let's see how it ended up working out. And then we got Max back in left field again, and and JT got a night off. Of course, this is all after
Rain delay.
the rain delay, and the late night game, and of course they had to fly late and then fly to Chicago
or St. Louis.
I mean,
but yeah, I'm saying because I'll give you my thoughts that like even without a rain delay, you're still at a disadvantage not having that travel day and stuff. Because like the game still would have ended pretty late. Even without the rain delay.
Just so you people know, this is senility. I'm just old. I'm not drunk. I didn't have anything to drink. I just make mistakes, man. But anyway.
But because I said a lot of people on Twitter, and I agree with them. Like the Phillies were at a disadvantage in Game 1 of the card, regardless, because they still would have got out of Atlanta late without rain and like no travel day. Like, what's wrong with you, MLB? Like, why don't you put a travel day in?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think I even what came into my mind. What would the 76ers coach say? You know who I'm talking about.
Nick Nurse.
No. The one before that. Doc Rivers. He would always say, "Oh, that's a schedule loss, right?"
Well, I mean, unfortunately, I do agree to an extent.
Yeah, I got you. But let's face it, the rain delay is what really amplified it. Well, but the only good thing was Nola did fly ahead, and because he wasn't pitching that night, he was actually able to fly ahead and get some rest.
But
and
we got to go back to the same narratives from other episodes, like whenever Nola's on the mound, the offense just goes quiet.
Yeah, unfortunately, and he pitched. He
pitched well enough that they could have won with just a semblance of offense.
Yeah, and we didn't say he was pitching against
Andre Palante.
Palante, who I know nothing about. I don't.
Well, I'm saying is he that good, or were the Phillies just tired from the? It's just we don't know.
Well, I mean, it's not like the Braves scored a lot either, right? I mean, they only.
Well, because I'm saying we could blame the Cards, the rain delay and stuff, but at the same time, the offense has been inconsistent without rain.
Yeah, absolutely. And about the only thing that we could really say about that game. Wanted to say, Painter was pitching that night. And he got his first strikeout, so that was some good news. And
because he looks filthy, I'll say. Right?
Yeah. But I mean, right now.
But what's filthy is not in a good way. Not.
But I tell you, the main thing is here is they're getting people on base. They're just not bringing people in scoring position. I mean, 108 at bats, and they only get 24 hits. But one good statistic in that was of those 108 at bats, only 24 of them were Ks, and that still is a good trend this year. They are striking out less, and so the chase rate is less, and so the results aren't necessarily there, but they are doing what everybody said that they should be trying to do. We just need for it to be more successful. All right. So now we got game 2, right?
Oh, yes.
Okay. And I think the only real difference there was, so now we got game 2. Now, did they have Stotty going back, leading off again in that one? Yeah, I think that's what I have. And we got Marsh back in center field. We got Sanchez pitching against the Mikolas.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Because the Phillies have done well against him in the past, I'll say.
Okay.
Well, it looks to continue today. So.
All right. So, go ahead.
And speaking of doing well, like Castellanos, he doubled home a run.
Yeah.
Doubled home 2, actually, because Bryce Harper and Kyle Schwarber alike both came in. So.
Yeah. Nick getting another hit. I mean,
yes.
I've said it before. When Nick gets hot or when Nick is on, he can carry a team. He's almost kind of almost playing like that Reese Hoskins role, when other people aren't hot, he can kind of pick up the slack. So all right, so we're up 2-0. Okay.
And then there's no more scoring till the 5th when Bryson Stott doubles home, right? Brandon Marsh.
Another double that produces an RBI, And so what we got? What
3-0.
3-0.
But however, the Cardinals get one back in the bottom of the sixth. But credit to Sanchez, like there could have been a lot worse because there were more guys on and stuff.
Well, yeah, and he now he credited the infield for this. They had at that point they already had 4 double plays, and he credited them for bailing him out. But he's the one that's throwing the double play balls, right? For them to hit. That ended up being double plays.
Was it because they weren't like bombs, like to the outfield or anything like?
Yeah,
I'm saying they were hits off like you could return 2 and stuff.
Yeah, because it actually ended up they ended up with 5 for the night at 5 double plays, which was a really big number, and they should have actually had 6. They did botch one. Was not the best throw by or flip by Trey, and not a very good catch and throw by Stott. But anyway, but that's still that's really good on their part. I'm sorry, John. I mean, Philly. Let me get you back.
It was 3-1. Like I said, they get one back, but I said it could have been a lot worse. If not for the double plays.
Okay.
And then we'll top of the 7th. Trey Turner has our back. Like he gets that run back.
Yeah. Okay.
Because Trey Turner scored Alec Bowman. Well, it's good to see Bohm scoring because he's facing a lot of criticism from the media, unfortunately.
Yeah. Cool. And. Yeah, Bohm got the. So go ahead.
Well, that's all the scoring for that because the Phillies hold on the win 4-1, if I remember correctly. So,
okay, yeah.
And there's no more scoring.
Okay, and by the way, Sanchez went 6.1 innings, gave up.
Just the 1 run?
Yeah, just the 1 run and 1 earned run, and he had 3 strikeouts. So, another solid performance from Christopher Sanchez. Okay. All right.
And then you have Game 6. We don't want to talk about it, but we have to. It's our job. So
yeah, well, yeah, yeah. It's really not a job, but tonight it actually feels like work. This part of it. All right. I really thought they were going to, win this 3rd game of the series.
Well, because you think with Wheeler on the mound, but
Yeah, I mean, he didn't get the win last time and stuff. You figure you're not going to have this 2 times in a row, right?
Oh yes.
Okay, and
he was cruising until like the bottom of the 4th, like the home run, kind of like ruined halted his momentum.
Yeah,
because it wasn't like the first inning they were just smashing home runs and because he was looking good until that point.
Yeah,
just he hit a wall, as they say.
Yeah. Yeah, he started. Yeah,
started good, but then it didn't. And like I said, once the home run hit, it was just downhill.
Yeah, and then no offense, and that comes into play. I mean,
because you feel you have to do more and stuff.
Right. So now you're trying harder. You think and it's kind of what Nola gets a lot. So he kind of got a little dose of what it's like to be Nola there because. And we forget about that with Nola that he does sometimes feel like he has to win the games on his own. So all right, but go ahead
because they'll say that's 2-0 off the homer Wilson Contreras.
Okay.
And then Nolan Arenado double the next. I mean the ground rule doubles were a thing. Like Marsh was just barely not getting to these, but like he was trying his hardest, but they were just hit into a spot where he couldn't get.
Right. Well, at that point, to be honest with you, with the big goose egg that we put up, once they scored 1 run, they didn't have to score anymore. So,
yeah. I think it's whatever Matt Strom wild pitch, and then Jordan Walker homered off of like someone like some Hernandez. Like I've never even saw him hit. Like that's when it's like a guy you don't even know is coming.
That is funny. So. All right, so so we ended up losing that game
7-0.
7-0.
We got a touchdown put on it and an extra point, unfortunately.
Yeah, I don't even want to talk anymore about that game. Yeah, it's really kind of crappy. So I just wrote down 6 names here, and we're just going to talk about them briefly. So Bohm. Talk about Bohm and how do you feel right now?
Well, I mean, he's making a lot of his outs are just like pop ups, and like he's hitting I'd rather him that than striking out. Like
right, okay, and the emotion thing, okay, because the 2 narratives right now are the hitless streak, okay, which was at 19 before he finally got the single, and was his emotions of frustration and throwing his helmet or whatever it is whatever type of emotion that he's exhibiting and stuff. So
Well,
go
because the
ahead.
thing with Buck, the broadcast said like he has one of the lowest swing and miss rates, among MLB players. Like, so he's not striking out, like he's not swinging and missing, and right,
Yeah,
you know.
and a lot of his shots have just been, unfortunately, just not been in the holes, not been in the gaps. They've just been right at people. And the emotion thing, I think it's over. I think it's over
Over.
publicized.
Well, that's the Philadelphia media at times, right? Like
Yeah,
Castellanos chases too much. The Trey Turner can't, I mean, it could go on.
yeah, but we're giving Bryce a pass. Bryce was frustrated. Bryce has been, I mean, he hasn't really had. He's had home runs, but he hasn't
Well, this
really.
isn't the best version of Bryce Harper. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, and I'm not picking on the guy. I'm just saying that we give him a free pass. If he throws his helmet, or if he throw his bat, or if he'd do that, we wouldn't be picking on him. We'd just say like, okay, it's Bryce Harper, and
Well, he'll
come
snap
around.
out of it.
He'll snap out of it, But when it's Alec Boehm, we don't think he's going to snap out of it. Okay, so the other guy we want to talk about is Sosa. What do you got? What do you got?
Well, I mean, he's been the hottest hitter on the team, and Rob's got to play him every day. Like even if you have to bench like Kepler here and there, or bench someone, like you got to get him playing more. Because even my friends said, why isn't he playing every day and stuff with how hot he.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm with them playing. Does he have to play every day? I don't know.
Well, no one plays it. Like even Bryce Harper has off day. It's just.
Yeah. So, the big thing that I just want to put out there is that this whole thing that there's a lot of people that are always saying on social media, well, he needs to be a starter. This guy needs to be benched.
Well,
That guy
they
needs
need
to be benched.
it's called knee jerk reactions. That's what they're called.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah. Listen, right now he's a utility player, and that is a need. Okay, you need that person that can come in and hit. And to be honest with you, we have no idea if we played him every day at one position if we'd get the same type of production from him. Absolutely. So I think we should just keep doing what he's doing. We found out that he can play the outfield, so now he's even more valuable. So he can get into that rotation in the outfield, and he can still spell Stott. He can still spell Trey. He can spell Bohm. I mean, the guy is so versatile, and he's so valuable. To take that tool away just to put him in the lineup every day just really doesn't make sense. Unless somebody went down with an injury, then maybe he might do that. All right. Okay, that's my feelings on that. Rojas.
Well, I mean, he started the season, he was getting on base and stuff, but the fielding is what dragged him down. Like,
Yeah, and well, especially that last play, and that's not really good because that's supposed to be his strong suit,
because
right?
yes, even when he was struggling at the plate, like, well, at least he can dive and make diving catches, and right.
Right, yeah, and of course we're gonna have that. We're gonna have that debacle with him and Sosa. It's gonna be
Talked about till the end of time.
Yeah, well, for the near future. So it's gonna be the narrative on him. So I'm not done with him, but I'll be honest with you. Yeah, I really wish we could get away from him because it seems like if we're not going to get outstanding defense, the amount of offense you get from him isn't worth it. Okay, Wheeler. Let's talk about him just a little bit. I know there's not. I mean,
Yes.
we're not getting crazy here. We're not sending
saying
up
like
a
he
red.
sucks or whatever.
No. I just think we want to talk about it because
it's not like the Zach Wheeler we're accustomed to seeing. Like,
right, two bad out, not terrible outings, but not Zach Wheeler outings. Two in a row.
But I said people will say like, oh, if Rojas catches that, it looks a lot, but still, I guess it doesn't give you a free pass to just give up homer.
Yeah, and he gave up a home run in each of the games, and if that was
like if Nolan Ryan, like his fielder missed a ball, he backed him up. Like I'm just giving an example, like Nolan.
Sure. And if it was Nola that gives up every time he gives up a home run and a loss.
He gets like crucified.
Yeah. So, and again, I'm not saying that we crucify
Zach
Wheeler, but he needs to pick it up because he's our ace.
Well,
right?
Yes, if he wants to win a Cy, but Cy Young's not the most important thing in the world. But
yeah, I'll be on. Yeah, I don't even care about that. Let's worry about that after we win the World Series or you get the season's over. Right now, he needs to be our ace, and the ace is somebody that you can count on. That he's not. You're going to get it. Out of two outings, you're going to at least get a win out of it.
Because
Okay.
Taiwan Walker's looked like the ace, so like who would have thought that before the season?
Well, yeah, I mean,
Because he
yeah,
hasn't given up a run. Is my point. Like,
yeah. No, I mean Taiwan. I mean Lazardo's looked really good. Sanchez.
well, I'm just saying they've been your top three.
Yeah, yeah,
And then Wheeler and Nola, in theory, have been your worst. But like I
Right.
said, with
And
Nola, it's the run support.
yeah, and that's a luxury, right? I
Yes.
mean, isn't that great? I mean, that's one of the things we said coming into season is that our pitching staff, or especially the starters, it's stacked, man, and it's deep because you got Ranger coming back, you got Painter down on the farm.
Oh, yes.
I mean, the pitching,
Because I mean, you might have a 6-7 man when Ranger comes back, and then Paint. Because
Yeah.
you can't just get rid of Taiwan the way he's been pitching. Like as much as people wanted to run him out of town.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it would have been. It would have been sad. It wouldn't have been a good situation. Who knows if we'd even have as many wins as we have had
Without Taiwan, like
without him. Yeah, and it's going to be a good problem to have, right? Knowing whether to who to put in the bullpen, and it'll probably be
Taiwan, unfortunately, but
yeah, and I don't know if that's unfortunate or not. I mean, maybe a little unfortunate for him, but you shouldn't lose your spot to injury. But if Ranger doesn't,
well, I mean, I would move Ranger to the bull because I think I noticed with Ranger, like he could be dominant for 4 or 5 innings, but then after that, it kind of the wheels fall off, is the way to put it.
yeah. I mean, he's streaky in games, and he's streaky in a streak of games too. And we'll have to see. We
Because let Rob decide, right? Because
Yeah.
I'm glad I'm not in Rob's shoes, that
Oh,
I have
never.
to make his decisions.
Yeah. Okay. So let's see. We got a couple. So we got Nola here.
It's like same thing we've been saying. Like, I don't think Nola's been particularly bad. It's just the run support's not there when he's on the, like the losses are credited to him, unfortunately. But
yeah.
but I'm saying it isn't like he's given up like 10 runs or he's just getting beat around. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like,
The first game he didn't. Yeah.
wasn't very good, but after that, he's given up 3 runs or less.
Yeah. I mean that should be good enough.
Because they're called quality starts if you go up 3 runs or less.
Yeah,
He's giving you quality starts, but the batters aren't giving quality starts. That's for sure. When he's on them.
And I don't know why. I really don't know what it is. Is it like, oh well, it's Knowles on the mound?
Like they're putting too much pressure on themselves internally. That's what Hunter Brody said. Like
Possibly. I don't
Because
know.
you think, we have to score runs for Nola because we're not doing it, and then when you put too much pressure on yourself,
Yeah.
then your at bats aren't as good.
I don't know, but like I just would like to see him get more run support because I don't really like him being bashed. He's been a real workhorse and an anchor on this pitching staff.
Because I mean, he's the longest tenured Philly, since
Yeah.
2015. So
Yeah.
that way.
So and then one last thing I wanted to talk about, Cody Clemens. Okay.
I mean, I feel like they could insert him at any time because, I like Cody Clemens. Like he's came through for us many times in the past.
Okay, but here's the thing. So why is he on the team if he's not going to play? There's got to be something there. There's got to be a story that we don't know, a narrative that we don't know as to why he's not, as to why Rob isn't using him. I mean, he's only been a handful of at bats, if I'm not mistaken, all year long, and I don't know. I don't get it, especially when you're having all these other problems. And then today, right?
Like they could have.
What was the deal with putting? I know we already went over the game, but this is making me think about it, right? Because we got what was the deal with putting Marsh in left field?
Well, I mean, like I'm not gonna fault because he had to run like 5 miles to catch like those ground rule doubles, but
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying he hasn't really been producing that well, and now he's got a perfect opportunity to sit him and
get his head straight.
Get his head straight, and I think sometimes sitting, not benching, but sitting a guy helps get him right more than.
Well, because like I'll famously say, I'll go to the in 2008, Donovan McNabb had a bad game. Like Andy Reid benched him and it cleared his head. Like he played well the rest of the season.
Yeah.
Like that's an example in Philly sports that
Yeah, of course he had to go to the Eagles to make an example.
Well, but I'm saying but I'm saying Andy Reid did it. With Donovan McNabb and it worked.
Yeah. So anyway, so I don't know what the reason is why Cody's not playing more. I just think that's another option. And would he be doing any better? I don't know.
But one man can't carry a whole offense. Most of the time. It's.
Yeah, and when you're having these many different issues and stuff, and you're trying so many different things, why that option just hasn't played into it. I
mean,
I don't know.
I'm way more critical of Rob than this guy. Like I sometimes really get mad at him.
Sure. But lately, I'll be honest with you. I mean, I've been questioning some of the things that Rob does, that Topper does. I definitely believe in the guy. I haven't really lost my confidence, but at least he's doing, I guess, he's doing this stuff early in the season because he's trying to work things out. And hopefully, what he's learning now by these different combinations is going to pay dividends down the road. So.
Because the same thing with I'd rather the offense struggle in April than in October.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Same thing. So.
Yeah, you got plenty of time, and it's not like the rest of the division is setting the world on fire.
Because the Mets are about the same, but.
Yeah, and
they have had a way easy. Like the Mets have played such the easiest schedule in the league thus. Like the Athletics, right? The Marlins twice.
Okay. Yeah.
Like the Blue Jays. Like these aren't contender. They're
right.
They're not playing the Dodgers like us, or right.
Yeah, and we know the Braves. The Braves. Yeah, sure, they picked up a couple of wins against us,
but they're still they need a lot of catching up.
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, there's no reason for anybody to jump ship. There's no reason for anybody to freak out over.
Because you obviously know Hunter Brody. Because my dad said he was on the radio screaming right after the game and stuff.
Oh, he was. I was listening to him on the way up, and I'm like, if Philly's listening to him, he's probably pumping him up so much now, getting him ready for the podcast. But anyway, so all right, not a great week. We're going to look forward to bouncing back next week, and we'll be back here again. Next Sunday night, doing another one.
But hopefully in a better tone, put it that way.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, hopefully it'll be a better week. So, all right. If you don't hate us, like us, and you can follow us on.
It's YouTube and it's Twitter. Yep, YouTube and Twitter.
Yep, or X.
Or X. Yep.
Yeah, however you want to call it, and subscribe. On YouTube, so you don't
miss an episode.
So you don't miss an episode. And on count of 3, we're gonna do Let's Go Phillies. All right, 1, 2, 3. Let's go Phillies!